Good morning, everyone. I'm here today to make a quick card with you using the So Many Stars bundle. So I just want to show you this stamp set, and then we also have the dies that go with it. I do have a few of them already pulled out for this morning's card, but as you can see, we've got all these awesome layered stitched stars, and then we have, I'll just grab the other pieces I pulled out, these really fancy stars, some more stitched ones, and this really beautiful star scroll. So some really awesome dies, and this is actually primarily what I am using on today's cards. I will use a few of the stamps on the inside of our card, but actually the front of our card is going to be put together with all just dies. So kind of an interesting one in that there's really no stamping going on today. I just realized that as I'm putting this together. Now, the same card that I'm making today could be made with completely different colors though, and then use some of these awesome Christmas greetings. I just know that I have a lot of Christmas cards planned for you to see with this stamp set, so I thought I'd focus on some other ways that we can use it aside from making Christmas cards. So this stamp set, once the Christmas season is kind of over with for the year, is still going to be one that I use a lot in my business and in my personal life, especially I have coworkers who are pregnant, and well, one who should have had her baby already, so we'll see, waiting on that announcement. So yeah, I've got to get a birthday card or a baby card made for her. So we're going to get started. The first thing we're actually going to do is a little bit of watercoloring. So I have cut a piece of paper here. It's just 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So just smaller than a standard layer on a card, just so that we have a little bit of a trim. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab my aqua painter. So if you've never seen me use these, this is one of my favorite tools. I use them a lot. It is basically a watercolor brush that already has the water in the brush, and then you can use it with your inks. So this is one of the old style inks. You can squeeze the new style inks as well, or you can just grab a drop of re-inker and put it onto an acrylic block, and that works as well. So I've just squeezed my ink pad to get a little bit of ink in the lid, and then I'm going to leave that open. Take my aqua painter, give it a little squeeze to get some water running through it. This one's been giving me some trouble lately. There we go. I got some water in there. And with that, I'm going to mix up the water and the ink that I put in my lid to create a nice watercolor, liquid watercolor, to do some painting with. And then I'm just going to paint the background and like just scribbly, archy, like however you want it to be, whatever shape you want it to be. I'm not covering the whole background, but I do want a good light blue base back there. Okay, so for me, I think that's good enough. Try not to overthink it when you're watercoloring. It's just better to, go in there, do your little scribble of paint and be done, and see how it turns out. You can always go back later and add some more watercolor if you want. Way easier to add more than to take away. So once I've done that, I'm just using a Kleenex here to rub the tip of my paintbrush until it runs clear and I've just got water again. That way this is ready for the next color the next time I'm going to use it. And then I don't like to store my ink pads with water in them, so I'm just going to use that same Kleenex and clean up the extra watercolor that's left in my lid. That way I won't ruin my ink pad with water. Alright, so that's all done. We've got our background painted, so we're just going to set that to the side to dry, and that should dry fairly quickly, probably in the time it takes us to do the die cutting for this card. So I do have a lot of dies here. I am going to grab my Big Shot, and I know that Stampin' Up! No longer has this available, but they say they're coming out with something new, so I'm anxiously awaiting that. So here we go. I'm going to put that onto some of our silver foil, and I've got another star here that I'm going to pop onto the silver foil as well. This is a magnetic base, so sometimes you can see it just has a mind of its own and moves the dies for me. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to grab another piece here. I can actually do quite a few cuts all at once. So I'm going to put my welcome on there and this big scroll, and I'll run those through. All right. So it's just one pass through, and then those shapes are all cut out. I'm going to move them to the side for right now and pop them out of their dies in a little bit. That one I'll pull out. So I need a few of these stars, so I'm going to keep that one on while I run this through. And then my next one is going to be my big star. I'm going to run that through. All right. Good morning, Janice. Okay, so here we go. I've got just one more time through the machine to cut out one more star, and then that should be all of our die cuts for this morning. And we can get to putting this card together. While I'm doing this last one, I just want to let you know about a few things going on in the Stampin' Up! World. I just received 3 $7 off coupons from Stampin' Up! For, I think it was for sales that I did last month or the month before. Can't remember. Oh, maybe it was my Flex Points that I turned in to get $7 coupons. And so I am actually giving those away. Now, normally I would give those away for sales, but this month, actually, I'm looking to kind of expand my customer base, meet new people. So I'm actually going to give those away to the first 3 people to book a private party with me. So that means like having some friends over to your place and doing some stamping. And we can make it whatever theme you'd like, birthday cards, Christmas cards if you think you can find a date right now to fit it in. The date doesn't have to be like this month or next month. I know the next few months are very, very busy. But if you wanted to book something for January, and basically what it is when it comes time to have your party, whatever order you place, you'll get $7 off of that order. So anybody who's interested in placing or in booking with me a private party, you can either contact me through Facebook or send me a text or give me a call once this video is done, and we can get something on the calendar. And so I'm looking forward to meeting some new people and being able to share some of that basically free product that Stampin' Up! Was offering to me. And yeah, kind of excited about that. So that's going on. I'm also going to be at a few craft fairs coming up. So if any of you are looking to grab some more supplies or just to grab a few cards because you don't have time to make enough, you can check out my page and I've got them listed there. I'm at the Coquitlam River Elementary Craft Fair on the 19th and at the James Park Craft Fair on the 24th. All right, so this one's being just a little bit tricky. I probably should have run it through twice, but there we go. I finally got that pulled out. Gosh, sorry about I don't know if you guys can hear the rattling in the background, but our neighbors are having, I think their drain tiles are being redone because there's like big trucks and diggers and stuff, and man, my walls are just rattling all morning. It's insane. Yeah, so that's what's happening in my world. Plus, I'm trying to write report cards, so it's a little bit stressful around here right now, trying to get everything done. You know what? I think I'm actually going to pop this back on the machine and run it through one more time. These stars are not coming out. Sometimes I find with the more intricate dies that you do need to run them through twice, and I really should have thought about that before I pulled it off the machine. So these are actually pretty easy to line up a second time. I find that the pieces that have already been cut just fit really nicely into the grooves. and it's pretty easy to line it up again. Okay, get that swirl back in. So I'm just kind of pressing it back into the template, and then with that pressed in, push that down. Here we go. All right, so hopefully that was enough to get it fully cut. It's really nice, this one as well, because some of the pieces that get cut out of it are actually star shaped. So then we've got these cute little stars to use to decorate something else or to use on the card. I'm not today, but that's totally a possibility. So now I'm just going to grab this fancy tool. That helps a bit. Oh, I see the problem. I had a little bit of silver stuck in some of these. That's why they weren't coming out. All right, so now that I ran that through a couple times, you can see it popped out really nicely. That's awesome. Okay, set that to the side. So this is a roller brush. They actually don't sell this one anymore, but they do sell this exact same style of brush as an attachment for the Take Your Pick tool. So if you don't have one of these, you can still grab it with the Take Your Pick tool, and it's brilliant for getting all those little details out. So actually I'm going to use it on this silver star as well, because this one has a lot of little pieces. You can also get a piece of foam to go with this that you can lay it down on the foam. I just find I'm a little too lazy for that. That's one extra step, and so I usually just use my hand. All right, there we go. That one's done. So put all these dies off to the side so I don't lose them. Get rid of all these extra little bits. All right. So if you've ever cut your silver foil and found that you got kind of some like unwanted marks on it, it could just be that the sandwich you're using is a little too thick, and so just try using different plates to create your sandwich, and it should fix that problem right away. All right, next job that we have here is to create our card base. So I do have my card base cut, but I haven't scored it yet. So I'm going to grab my Simply scoring board. This thing is a lifesaver, especially at this time of year. I have been making so many cards. It's nice to just be able to cut a stack of paper and then quickly score it. You can put your markers in for whatever places you want to score, and it just makes things so quick and easy. You can also, now with the new paper trimmer, using the scoring tool on there is really handy as well. But I still love my scoring board. So this is going to be our first layer. I'm going to glue this onto my card base here. So I'm just going to grab my favorite liquid glue. This one's almost out though. All right. So yeah, I'm really happy to see the sunshine again today. That rain yesterday I know was needed, but ugh, I hate driving in it. I hate walking in it. So I'm excited to get back out in the sunshine today. And yeah, there we go. Oh, a quick update on my $1,000 party as well. We are halfway there, which means even if we don't get our full $1,000 party, there are lots of prizes to be earned, because even a $500 party comes with a lot of perks. So super excited about that. So thank you so much to Alice and Nicole, who have got spots in that party so far. And I know there are a few of you who were mentioning you might have something. So give me a shout if you do have an order. And yeah. When you remember to do more than one piece, I know. I love that cutter for being able to cut 3 pieces at once. So nice. I actually took an entire pack of thick white cardstock and smashed it all up, and being able to cut 3 at a time with that trimmer was so nice. So yeah, now I've got a new stack of white paper to work with. All right, so we're going to glue this star onto our our pool party star here that we cut. And to do this, I'm going to actually use a mini glue dot in the center, but then I'm going to use the fine tip glue on the edges so that it really stays put. So I'm going to take the cover off that mini glue dot before I use my fine tip glue. That way I won't drag my fingers through the glue. All right. And now this fine tip glue is awesome because it is really truly such a very fine tip. You can get into really nice small spots and not end up with giant globs of glue. Okay, the only kind of pain with this one is closing it back up, because you have to be able to line up the little needle that goes down the center of the glue bottle, I guess, so that it doesn't like get clogged with glue, because it is such a fine tip on it. All right, so with that done, I'll just show you inside this lid. Let's see if you can see that. Get the light on there. There is a little needle in there. You actually have to line that up so that it goes into the center of oh my goodness, so challenging sometimes. Sorry, I'm gonna have to get this closer to my eyes. Oh my goodness. There we go. So once you've lined it up, you'll know, because you can actually screw the lid shut again. If it's not lined up, it's going to get in the way and you won't be able to close it properly. All right, so with that done, just give that a few seconds to dry. There we go. So we've got our star on our pool party star, and that's actually going to go right in the center. But first of all, I'm going to, let's see, grab some snail and put a little bit of silver cord on the back. So I do have to say that this morning's card is not my own creation. It's my own adaptation of somebody else's creation. Stampin' Ann, I believe she's from San Antonio, created this card, but actually in a different color scheme as a Christmas card. And I just loved it so much, and haven't really had a chance to play with this set on my own anyways. So I'm casing her card and just changing it up a bit, color scheme and words and all that, to turn it into a baby card. So here we go. I'm putting some silver cord so that it just kind of is flying around in the background there. And then I'm going to use some mini dimensionals and attach this to my card front. Actually, I'm not. I lied. I will do that. But first of all, I'm going to put that Bermuda base scroll in the background that I created. All right, let's get that onto the proper side of that dimensional. There we go. Actually, I'm going to use another dimensional to hold that in place because it's not laying the way I'd like it to. There we go. All right, so set that to the side. This is dry enough. If it wasn't dry enough, I could always take my heat tool to it to speed up the process, but I don't actually have to. So for this one, most of it is going to be hidden underneath this star. So what I'm actually going to do is kind of a sloppy way of attaching this is I'm going to use my snail and just run my snail over a bunch of these stars in the middle. It's going to hold it in place, and I don't have to get like all fancy detailed because that sticky stuff isn't going to show my stars covering it up. That's going to hold it in place really nicely. So a little bit of a cheat there because we can. All right, so now I get to attach this to my card front. Thank you, Janice. I think, you know, it's the color scheme that I love, but the dies just make it so easy to look so good. These dies are really, like, I wasn't sold on getting the stamp set until I saw a few of the Christmas cards created with it. But right from the get-go, as soon as I saw these dies, I knew I wanted to have them. I love creating birthday cards, baby cards, and all that with the stars. I just think they're so much fun. And so these stars just make it that much more interesting with all the little details they have in them. All right, so with that kind of put on there, I'm going to put some mini dimensionals on the backs of these silver stars that I cut. I love that they have the stitching on them as well. And here we go. So for now, I'm not actually going to glue these down. I'm going to just kind of gently place them. And I am going to do a little bit of stamping. I've actually got the word baby from the Well Said stamp set. So this is one of my favorite stamp sets because you can have random things like stars and be able to turn it into any kind of card you'd like. Get well card, Mother's Day anniversary, whatever. Congratulations. This would actually make a great congratulations card. I'm going to turn it into a baby card though. So I'm going to stamp the word baby down here. Okay. There's my word baby. And with that stamped, I'm going to take my welcome, and this was cut out using the Well Said die cuts, and I'm going to put that across my card on top. So I'm going to use mini glue dots to do that. And I'm going to kind of put one on the E, one on the center of the L, which I know it's not the center of the word, but it actually is kind of a key point for holding things in place. Oh, I think that one came off on my hand. There we go. All right, and once they're on, I am going to use my fingernails to kind of curl them up so that they're hidden behind the letter entirely. And I'm going to put one over here on the edge of the W. So peel those backings off and use your fingernail to kind of scrunch it in so it's all hidden. That's the one thing I love about mini glue dots, is that you can do this on the back of a ribbon or really anywhere. And I'm going to put that where I'd like it and push down my E, my L, and my W, and that's going to hold my word in place. Oh, forgot I didn't glue those. There we go. So once I'm happy with the placement of these stars, I will take the backing off. And yeah, that's good. Take the backing off and secure those. And we just have a few more steps to create the rest of this card. All right. There. Okay, so now we are going to grab some rhinestones. You can use the take your pick tool or your fingernails, whatever you're most comfortable with. I'm going to put one of the larger ones into the center of my star, and then a few medium and small sized ones just kind of scattered around the outside. All right. This actually looks a little plain up there. I'm going to throw a few up there. Okay. And that is most of our card done. This needs to get attached to the front. Now, because I used the watercolor paper, I could use liquid glue. There's quite a bit of weight to this now, though, with all these layers. So I'm actually going to grab my tear and tape. I usually reserve this for like 3D projects and stuff, like putting together bags. But I just find that with the watercolor paper, it does absorb like the liquid glue and all that. Snail doesn't seem to work as well with it. So the tear and tape really is your best bet to make sure your card doesn't come apart, because that's the worst, especially with our humid weather here in BC. I find that glue and snail just doesn't always do the trick. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to peel these backings off, and then we will break into our stamp set because we're going to use our stamp set to decorate our envelope and the inside of our card. Here we go. Turn that around. So because I'm using tear and tape, I got to be very sure of my placement before I let go, because once it's done, it's done. Okay, there we have it. So that is the front of our card completely designed, and now we get to work on decorating the inside. So, oops. When I open this up, that is light enough that I could write on that, but I think I'm actually going to put a piece of white on the inside. So I always have white paper pre-cut. to line the inside of a card, because there's nothing worse than creating like an awesome, black or red card and then not being able to see what you write on the inside of it. So I always have these white papers ready to go. Okay, so a little bit of liquid glue on there. I just glue around the outside edges and then place that inside there. And now let's crack open this stamp set and actually do some decorating in here. So I think that because it's a baby card, I'm going to use maybe this small little one and these really fun little speckled ones. I really like those. Oh, actually that matches the front one though. Let's use those instead. So I love that it's a photopolymer, so you literally just pull it off the plate, slap it onto a block, and you're ready to go. And I'm also going to grab this itty bitty one. Oh, there's my little block. There we go. Just throw it onto the other side of where I had baby. So, because these are brand new, I'm always a little nervous about how they're going to stamp. So I always do a practice run on my sample paper. And I can see that one star just didn't quite get inked up. There we go. That's way better. All right. So I'm just going to do one row of these kind of on a diagonal. And then I'm going to fill in a few of the spots. Let's do a step. Yep, there we go. Just going to do a few of these darker ones. So just a little bit of a detail on the inside of my card. And then I'm also going to grab an envelope and decorate my envelope. So to decorate my envelope, I actually think I'm going to use a different stamp again because I saw this really gorgeous little starfall. Yeah, really nice. So I'm going to grab that starfall and I'm going to stamp that onto the flap of the envelope. So I've got that on my block. Now, when I do these, where I'm stamping on the flap of an envelope, I actually want to just be able to focus on the stamping and not worry about getting anything onto my paper or onto the parts of my envelope that I don't want. So I just grab a piece of scrap paper, fold it over so that it completely covers my envelope. The only part that's exposed is this flap, and then I will stamp with that. So again, do a little sample over there. Oh, I kind of like it stamped off too. I think I might actually do the whole thing stamped off just to create a really nice light look. Beautiful. So the key to this is to remember to always actually do the stamp off. I've done that before where I've been doing mostly stamping off and then I forget and do one really dark one, and then you gotta go back to the drawing board and figure out how you're gonna fix that. Okay. And then, because of how this stamp is designed, there are a few kind of more open spots. So I'm gonna take that small star that we used before and do a stamp off and do those small stars to kind of fill in the blanks. This would be a little bit easier if I didn't still have the baby stamp on the other side, but I'm managing, I guess. All right. And so you can stamp off the edges as well. It makes it kind of look a little bit more of a random pattern. And yeah, there we go. So we've created an entire beautiful flap there with those stamps and doing the stamping off technique so that it's kind of a lighter blue like the watercolor. So that is our card for today. And actually, I'm going to do one more thing. On the front of my envelope, I'm going to do a stamp off of those and then stamp off, add in a few of these. There we go. And so that is the front of my envelope, all done like that, the back like that. And there's our card. That's our project for today. So just an example of how you can use our So Many Stars stamp set to create something other than a Christmas card and keep using this stamp set throughout the year. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all next Wednesday. Bye-bye.